Welcome back to Marky RC. This video is going to be me building a Tamiya tr15 stadium truck, Tamiya's first glow engine or nitro truck. The video prior to this is a little run through of what I got when I bought it off eBay because it's already been used, and a stripped down video. So I'll show you all the parts laid out and then we'll put this truck together. Here we have all the parts laid out for the Tamiya tr15 stadium truck. Got some brand new fuel line, 4 new wheels, 4 new tyres. Fuel tank's absolutely immaculate now. I've completely stripped that little TS15 nitro engine made by Toki. It's supposed to be quite a powerful little engine actually. It was a bit gammed up with the old nitro fuel where it had been left in, so I've fully rebuilt that with a new air filter. Then we've got the Tamiya anodised red chassis plate with the red standoffs. Fully rebuilt the diff, that's absolutely smooth as butter now. Rebuilt and repacked the little clutch system that goes inside the spur gear in the centre there. Got a set of shielded metal bearings for inside the gearboxes. Even come with a little fuel filter in the kit. And then we've got the rubber shielded bearings for everywhere else. All new hardware. Couldn't find some the original pins, so I'm going to give them a really good clean up. But apart from that, everything else is there now to put the truck back together. So I'll do a page by page, well, a couple of pages at a time, put them onto the model, show you what it looks like stage by stage. Here we have the parts laid out for up to page 5 of the build. I've already built the differential. That's absolutely super smooth, no binding on that at all. And it's got the bearings, so it runs even smoother. I've actually done a couple of differential builds in prior videos, so because that was in such good condition, I've just literally undone it, added a bit more diff ball grease, put it back together. We've also got the anodised chassis, anodised standoffs, aluminium motor mount, steel centre shaft, gearbox housings, and a couple of strengthening braces, and also the FRP parts that I've sanded them down and painted them. They were all stained in nitro fuel. A couple of other ball races to go into the gearbox so everything runs nice and freely. So these are all the parts up to page 5. So I'll put all these together and then I'll show you what it looks like as it progresses through the stages of the model being built. Here we have the gearbox with all the internal gears in, all on ball races. Looks like a very sturdy gearbox. Even the idler shaft in the middle there is made of steel. Hardened steel out drives on the diff. Little bit of grease in there, not too mad, just so everything's lubricated. So I'll get the rest of those parts popped on the buggy, show you what it's like. Here we have the chassis. Aluminium upstands, centre chassis bracket. Gearbox fully built. Drive cups in, differentials in. No binding at all lovely and smooth. So that's up to page 5. Got the FRP little bracket on the end there. Output shaft of the gearbox. And then I've laid out the next stages of the build. These parts were already put together before I stripped the buggy, so instead of taking all that off because it's absolutely spotless, that would have just been a waste of time. So you've got both rear arms and the plastic hubs. Quite a hard plastic, the grey plastic, and a bit more flex in the blade, in the black plastic. Got our brass ball studs inserted into there. Then you've got the carriers that carry the suspension arms, and they all run on a brass bush. A couple of aluminium upstand screws. Chassis bracket, the pins that hold the rear arms on. And then you've got Tamiya's little press fit nuts, tiny little thing. Once they pull into the plastic, they pretty much stay in there and don't come back out. And a selection of hardware. This chassis comes with pretty much all new hardware for the underside of the chassis. So everything is genuine Tamiyas screws and will be as it should have been in the instructions when the car was brand new. So I'll put all these parts on and then we'll have a look what it looks like. Here we have the rear A-arms put on now. Onto the chassis, absolutely no play in them whatsoever. I still struggle to grasp the concepts of this car's 30 odd years old and Tamiya were making no slop in their models that long ago. Why are all the new touring cars so floppy and you have to shim everything? Absolutely no binding, everything is running lovely and free. I've laid out the next parts, ready for the next part of the build, which is universal shafts, the hubs which I've obviously already put on. You've got the rear suspension tower bracket, ball races for the wheels and a couple of giant E-clips to hold the wheels on, and all the hardware. So we pop those few bits on. That takes us up to page 8 in the manual and I'll show you what it looks like. Here we have the last 3 pages put together. So the suspension is fully mounted on the back of the buggy now. Everything's moving free. Absolutely super smooth. Shock absorbers are the same, I've fully rebuilt them. I think the springs, which are a medium rate spring, are still quite stiff. Might change them for a slightly softer rating, but apart from that, absolutely no play in anything. I think the chassis looks really cool. Anti-roll bars are on as well. So I've laid all the parts out for the next part of the buggy, which is the front A-arms, steering knuckles and everything are already mounted. I couldn't be bothered to take them off because those E-clips are an absolute nuisance. Then we've got the spur gear. Inside the spur gear is loads of little plates that are all stacked up like a very early sort of slipper clutch system. Be interesting to see how that works, but they all seem to wiggle about when you move the spur gear around. But I think this is one of the only buggies. I'm not sure if the Dynastorm comes with that type of slipper, but it looks very robust. Fully rebuilt all the front shocks. They're lovely and smooth. Same again, quite a hard spring rate, but they're supposed to be medium, but maybe they're not. Front shock tower, FRP. I've painted all them a matte black because they were all stained with nitro fuel. We've got the front brace that holds the front suspension arms on. And then we've got the springs that operate the clutch inside that spur gear and a couple of little end plates. So I'll pop all those bits on the truck or buggy and then I'll show you what it looks like. Right, here we have the chassis now with all the front suspension on. Nothing binding, absolutely no play in that at all. The only thing I didn't get were ball racers for the steering, but to be fair, I don't really think it needs it for the amount of use this buggy's going to get. We've also got all the rear gearbox and everything in now. Rear shocks are on. Spur gears on. I think that anodised chassis looks pretty cool. And then we've got the rest of the parts laid out now, which is the installation of the motor. So we've got the little toe key, Tamiya motor, TS15. Everything's running freely like it should do. New air filter, cleaned all the exhaust out, cleaned all the inside of the internals out, load of old manky nitro fuel, new exhaust gasket, cleaned all the carbs, so that's all running freely now. Then we've got the clutch and the flywheel. That's the only nitro car I've ever seen a clutch system that works like that, with basically an O-ring as the that holds the little pause in place until the engine spins fast enough and then centrifugal force pulls those shoes out and engages with the clutch bell. Got 3 new pieces of fuel line, nice and clean. I've cleaned out all the little fuel filter. This is the only kit I've ever seen, nitro car, that comes with a actual fuel filter from Tamiya. And then you've also got all the little braking system, which is basically like a mechanical clamp brake. As it pulls on the rod, it pulls the shoes in and clamps the disc. The motor sits on an offset motor mount. And then you've got the spur gear cover and a few screws to hold it all together. So I'll pop all those parts together and then I'll show you what they're like when the motor is installed onto the chassis. Right, here we have the tr15 now. Fuel tank in, all the motors mounted. I've replaced all of the fuel lines with new clear line. Also replaced the pull cord rubber, so it's all nice and new and shiny. There's a view from underneath of all the chassis, all new hardware installed on the bottom. Hard to see, tiny little fuel filter under the motor, new air filter. And on the side there, you've got the mechanical brake, just needs to be connected to the servo. Engages the brake the rear wheels. Everything's running freely. The other 2 aluminium anodised upstands put on the chassis. So I've got some new wheels, new tyres for the back, for the front, sorry. New rear wheels. Got the vintage Vituber servos, vintage receiver. We've got the top deck to go on and the roll cage. So I'll pop all those parts together and show you what they'll look like on the buggy. Right, here we have the tr15 completely built now. Really nice looking nitro car. Got the red anodised hop-up chassis, all new hardware, all the red anodised standoffs. Replaced the wheels, replaced the tyres, and the fuel tubing. And to be fair, that is pretty much all I had to do. This buggy was in excellent condition when I brought it. Only thing, back shocks are really nice. The front shocks, they're really quite stiff and bouncy, so I might change the spring rate in them. They're all fully rebuilt with new seals, new pistons and new bladders, so those springs are really hard. Fuel tank's absolutely spotless. I put all the vintage servos in. Steering servo, throttle servo. Cleaned all the brake disc up. New filter. The roll cage cleaned up really well. Slightly yellowed, but you can barely notice it depending on what light you're in. Fully adjustable toe in, toe out. Differential in the gearbox. Mechanical braking system which works exceptionally well. Don't know what to do about this body. It's got a couple of tears in. It is an original body. I don't know whether to get a reproduction body from Team Blue Groove or to scuff this body up and overpaint it. The decals are coming from MCI, so I'll do a video on what I'm going to do with this shell, whether I'm going to repaint it or get a reproduction one. And in the same video apply all the decals, because the decals look really cool in these trucks because they're bright orange and yellow. Really nice truck. As you can see, I've painted all the top deck because it was in the right state from nitro fuel staining. You've got the front anti-roll bars all installed now, and the rear anti-roll bar at the back there. Didn't go too mad on the polishing of the engine because I think if they're too polished they look a little bit over restored. Might paint the flywheel, I don't know yet, because I think that it is a vintage, you know, it is that vintagey look. But I don't know what to do about that body. I mean, part of me thinks keep it, part of me thinks get a Team Blue Groove one. I know a lot of the body showers I've got are all original, and they do clean up, and you can overpaint them if you scuff up the Lexan and get the correct paint. I think that's like Subaru blue. It's very similar to Subaru blue, so it's a Tamiya paint colour they've got. I found a man on eBay. I might get a new decal for the side of the motor because that's a little bit worn. Replace the pull cord, fuel tube, because that was all yellowed. So that's about pretty much it until the decals come. So as soon as they come, I'll do a video on installing them, and I'm going to do a video on trying to start this nitro car. Considering it was built in 91, it's getting on a bit, but it does look in absolutely excellent condition, and it has got a lot of compression, which is a good sign. And I put a new glow plug in, so I'll get some fresh nitro fuel next time I'm at Model World in Sittingbourne, the model shop I use, and try to get it started. I need to go online, find the needle settings. I think it's roughly where it needs to be, but I'll do a video on trying to get this started and then just give it a gentle run around the garden. So thanks for watching, hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you could like and subscribe, it'd be cool for a new channel. So I hope to see you in the next one. I'll see you later. Bye.